This is the Spokane Soccer Show, and I am your host, Benji Wade. And joining me to serve up only the best vibes about all things soccer in the fine city of Spokane, it's Zephyr FC and Bosnia and Herzegovina superstar winger, midfielder, I think just magician, Emina Ekić. Welcome to the Spokane Soccer Show, Emina.
Thank you for having me. That was such a nice intro.
Oh, goodness gracious. I've been working on it. I've been up here all day in this brand new studio space for the Spokane Soccer Show. I mean, welcome. This is the first time that I have recorded out of this space, and it's super exciting. It also was intimidating because it took me all day to get set up for it. And I'm only halfway there, but I basically took all the belongings, Emina, out of my home office and brought them down to this new studio space. Welcome aboard.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. I'm excited I get to be the first in this new space.
Yeah. And on the heels of very important things happening this weekend, Zephyr FC, the mission is simple: win and we're in. I think we can be technically helped. You'll have to correct me on my math on this, but I think if Carolina defeat Dallas, we're also still in, right?
Yes.
Is that true?
Yeah, that's true.
Are you paying attention to all this math on things?
We have been kind of watching the games, and it does spark interest, and we have been trying to do the math at the table. But at the end of the day, it gets complicated, and it's just so much easier if we just win. And that's all we need to know.
Yeah, you control your destiny, as they say.
Exactly.
There are scenarios where you can get in without winning, I think, but you don't want to take the chance on that.
Exactly. It's stressful, like waiting for things to happen.
Yeah. It's been, I think, how many days since the last game? This schedule has been wild. I think Fort Lauderdale. So we started the season playing Fort Lauderdale. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a perfect bookend. We're going to finish our season at one stadium playing Fort Lauderdale. But they have played 4 games since Zephyr played their last game. I'm going to stop saying we. I am not on the team.
No, keep it going.
I mean, I want to, but I also have to remember when I mix things up and go from Zephyr FC to we and all that stuff, I get confused in a hurry. But Emina, I've gotten ahead of myself. We're here also. I want to shout out Riley Harnato is here with us, and it's so fun to have her here for our first ever recording in the new permanent home of the Spokane Soccer Show. Welcome aboard, Riley.
Riley.
Hi, Riley. You will not be able to see Riley until maybe the end of the podcast. We'll get you to jump in here with us. But I come bearing gifts.
Whoa. Is that for me or for Riley?
This is for you.
How'd you know those are my favorite?
But you can share. I'm not doing a product placement here. Reese's miniature cups. There you go.
Thank you so much. Wow, that's so nice. I didn't bring you anything.
That's fine. You're here, and that's the present. There's a secret Santa out there. So I'm glad I bought the little jumbo pack so that you can share them with your teammates, but you don't have to. Look, if you really like Reese's peanut butter cups, you can have all those to yourself.
Awesome. We'll see how I'm feeling tomorrow.
Okay. And then you get to pick a color, any color. Okay. And there's no wrong answer.
I like the white.
Let's go.
Oh, awesome.
There's no wrong answer, but I'm secretly rooting for the white hat because people usually like the black hat better. So
really?
Yeah.
No, I think it looks cleaner.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Do you wear hats?
Sometimes, but my brother would rep this real nice.
Okay.
He loves hats.
I'll take it.
He's a Kentucky boy.
Because Kenzie and Soph both threatened to wear their Spokane Soccer Show hats on walk-up, and I've checked all the evidence, and they have not done that yet. So just saying.
That's crazy from them.
That's crazy, and there's only one more game.
And Soph isn't here.
Oh, right. Should we even be talking about that? I'm looking at the boss right now.
Sorry.
No, I think
it got announced.
We announced it.
Okay.
Soph's on international duty, but you know who is here? Emina Ekić is here, so I'm just going to leave it at that. Soccer never rests. I intended last weekend to take a break during the Memorial Day weekend, and I went to Quinn's Hot Springs with my family. But then in the middle of this adventure, there was so much happening. Arsenal's women's team won their second Champions League. Do you watch soccer? Do you pay attention to what's happening in other countries and other leagues?
Yep. Molly and I had it on in the morning.
Yeah. Who's your favorite team? Like men's and women's teams?
Arsenal.
Arsenal all the way.
I come from an Arsenal family.
Oh, so you're super stoked right now.
Yeah. But I also do I like grew up watching like Ronaldinho and Messi. So I love the style that Barcelona plays.
I went there in 2022 when they were terrible. My one time of going to see them play, and it may have been their absolute worst time period. So I was pretty sad about that.
Yeah. No, but it was super cool to watch. It was such a good game. And like the defense was incredible. Like I was sitting there thinking myself, I'm like, wow, it's like the 1v1 defending is amazing. Like it looks hard to get by people.
Yeah, and they were set up for most of that game to counterattack. Like they soaked up a lot of pressure, and it looked like my favorite player, Bon Mati, was the only one on Barcelona who kind of seemed to know what Arsenal were trying to do, but it wasn't enough. So shout out Arsenal. Zephyr FC, meanwhile, haven't played since May 13th, but so much has happened since then. What have you been up to since the last game?
Not much, honestly. Recovering, relaxing, catching some sun. I did a little horseback riding.
Okay, talk to me about the horseback riding.
Grocery shopping.
This is such a thing with Zephyr FC players, the horseback riding. Is this all because of Haley?
So back in November, I think we went to Fred's Ranch. They invited us, had like a little barbecue, like gave us like little lessons, and we watched them like do things like, I don't even know what it's called, where they like rope cattle or like, I don't know. But we went there and had a little bonfire and just like a little team, like a bonding night. And it was so fun. So like whenever we want to go out, they just have us out there and we can like take lessons. And I went with Izzy. Izzy's really big into it. Izzy and AB. Okay. And it was such a fun experience.
Wait, so it has nothing to do with Haley? Where did I get that idea?
Haley does have horses.
Okay.
Yes. She grew up on a ranch.
In her Oregon land that she grew up in. Exactly. I don't know what little city she's from, but okay.
Yeah.
So I think this playoff race is amazing for the USL Super League. And I was paying attention to that game where, you know, DC got a point from Fort Lauderdale, and it's like Dallas, Fort Lauderdale, our beloved Zephyr, all competing for 2 remaining spots. Going into the spring, the club were at the bottom of the table. And since that time, they're now in 4th. And we'd get to bookend our season. We, you know, like I mentioned, we started the first ever season for Zephyr FC playing against Fort Lauderdale here at home. And we're going to finish with that game. I want to just get your perspective on, you know, my last podcast, I said the words mentality, spirit, and togetherness to describe the play of Zephyr FC in the spring. But that was my words. I would love to hear, Emina Ekić, how you would describe the turnaround in this team from last December to now.
I just wanted to put it out there that in like October, November, I made a statement and I said, guys, we're going to have the greatest comeback in Super League history.
Okay.
And people have heard it in the locker room, so they'll quote me, but I just want to put that out there. We're making that run. I
have to tease you. When you said in Super League history, was your tongue in cheek when you said that? The 1 year of Super League history?
And I think that's why it's kind of funny, but yeah, I don't know if it can be replicated. It's been a crazy year. But as far as this season goes, what were your words again?
I said mentality, spirit, togetherness.
Those are good ones.
Yeah.
I would say I'd throw grit in there as well, because we know sometimes that it doesn't look pretty, but we get the job done. And we work hard for each other, and just having the fall be so hard with like not good results, but everyone around us being like positive and pushing us forward. And then like, it's obviously easy to like come together and stay together when things are going your way. But it has been an exhausting spring. I feel like on everyone, like emotionally, like mentally, physically, because we've gone into every game every week and that's all we could focus on. And we just know we need points. And we can't drop points. So like losing to Carolina was frustrating because we knew we couldn't drop points. And then even when we went down in Brooklyn, like it was hard. Like it was a hard travel day, night before, the bus ride there, the traffic, the delay, like everything was like hard. But at the end of the day, we were like, we can't lose these points because we won't make it. Even in DC, when we tied, we were like, we can't tie. We can't afford a tie.
Totally.
And then just like coming together and like brushing off, you know, mistakes, like they happen. And I think that's what like the coaching staff and the girls are good about. Like we make a mistake and we brush it off. It's like 7 seconds, like a goldfish, like it happened, but we have to move on and we have to do it together, and we can only do it together. because like we were in such a poor spot that the only way we could get back to the top was together.
You mentioned you can't have a point. When I was watching the DC game, I chatted about this on my last podcast with my friend Abby. I couldn't watch. I was so stressed watching that game because I knew that a point wasn't good enough. So when the penalty was missed and then we conceded a penalty at the other end 5 minutes later, it's like, this is exactly how it always goes. It's torture, right? As a supporter, and I can't even imagine what it's like as a player, but I knew that in that game, a point wasn't going to be good enough. But yet, at the same time, I thought about the Brooklyn game, and that point was critical, right? Especially being down 2 goals. I think I would love to hear your perspective about the addition of Ali Cook and how that has impacted the front 3, which has been, I think, the area where this team has developed and shown so much more capability than what we were seeing in the fall. And so the addition of Ali and the front 3 has gotten to where in the Brooklyn game, being down 2 goals, I've looked at this team in the way it's currently playing, that being down 2, if there's 10 minutes left in the game, that we could still equalize. It feels like this team can score goals in bunches now. So talk to me about the addition of Ali Cook and the thoughts on just the front 3 play in the spring.
Yeah, it's crazy because I feel like in the fall, nothing went in. Now I can close my eyes and everything goes in. But no, Ali has been amazing for us. I mean, she's scoring goals. She's gets in the nitty gritty. Like, she is a great hold up player. You know, she's great for me and Ken's to run off of. She's a great target player to win aerial balls, but she's also, like, when she posts up, she's good to connect the midfield with the forwards. And I think that's where it's been critical. It's kind of like been that final like puzzle piece, and it's connected everything. And, you know, it took maybe a little bit of time. Like, I feel like she settled in comfortably as soon as she got here, but like a little time to build some chemistry. And I think between the 3 of us, we do such a good job of like working off of each other and like rotating. Cause like sometimes I'll be on the right and Ken's is the 9 and Allie's like on the left. And like, we just like move, like when we see one has moved, like we just fill spaces, and that's hard to defend. And I think we've found a lot of success in that.
The contributions of Allie to the midfield have been also important. Can you speak about that at all?
Yeah. I mean, she does drop down, and like I said, I feel like she holds up the ball for us really well. Like, she helps by holding up, like the defense can step up, the midfield can step into it. You know, we're not just disconnected and have like gaps all over the field. Like, the forwards are high and then the midfield is coming and then defense has like still not gotten up. So just like sometimes we're very good at transition. I think it's one of our biggest strengths, but just being able to slow the game down. Sometimes, like, I think that's what we needed, because you can't play transition for 90 minutes.
Yeah.
So that's been extremely helpful, and it just kind of like gives everyone a breath and like, okay, we got this. Like, just slow down. We got it. Or keep possession here, and then we can go. We can switch the side. We can go back. We can go back around. We can go through. No, but she's been incredible for us. She's been a great addition.
I did a podcast where me and my friend Abby basically previewed all the players that Zephyr FC had signed at that time. And it's been a while, so I kind of want to revisit some of those things that we talked about back then and your history. So I'd like to chat about that with you and your kind of journey to becoming a professional soccer player. So let's start back in Louisville. That's where you grew up. You're a Kentucky kid, and you were 2-time Gatorade High School Player of the Year. Is that right?
I was just once. I don't really, like, I'll set the record straight. I don't really know how that got put out there, but I really only won it once.
Yeah, why is that out there?
I'm not sure. But I do have my banner in my high school that I'm very proud of.
But you did win one.
Yes.
Okay.
It is there.
I'm sure you were worthy of a second one. And then you played 4 years at Louisville, 29 goals, 19 assists. Shout out.
Cool.
I'm going to get into your professional play if that's okay. But if you want to chat at all about what happened in your earliest days of playing soccer, or let's do it this way. Talk to me about like a memory of playing youth soccer that sort of sticks out to you as like, this is going to be something I'm going to do for the rest of my life, if that happened.
I feel like I knew that from the very beginning. I just really liked watching my dad play. And I don't know, it was just like my favorite thing to do. Like, it brought me so much joy. Like, I could do it all day, every day. Go kick a ball around and stuff. And I started like kind of training with my dad, and he was like, next year we'll sign you up. It was called like Beachmont Soccer. It was kind of like the local like YMCA type deal back home. And I think I was like 8 or 9 years old, and I had like a great year, and my parents could tell that I loved it, and the rest is history, really.
Did you soccer players throughout your family, including your dad, or just your dad?
Yeah, both my parents played growing up. My uncle played, my grandpa played, and I feel like there's probably so many other people that played. It's like really a European thing.
Yeah, of course. Are you second generation?
First.
First. You were born in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Do you say Bosnia and Herzegovina every time?
I just say Bosnia.
You do? Okay. Because that's going to be a tongue twister.
Mixed up. No, I was born here.
Okay.
I'm like first gen in the US.
Okay, you got it.
Yeah.
I don't even think I know. Is that second gen or first gen? How does that work?
I don't know. Like my parents were born there.
Your parents were born there?
My brother and I were technically the first ones born here.
Okay. We're going to come back to Bosnia and Herzegovina, but that's the last time I have to say both. I can just say Bosnia?
Yep.
Oh, God. Thank you. So you were 5th pick in the 2021 NWSL draft, right? Mm-hmm. Your home state, Racing Louisville expansion team. Was that like a dream come true? Talk to me about that.
It was. I think that was one of my favorite nights. So because of COVID, we didn't have like an actual like draft that we attended, but it was honestly like kind of better because we held it in like the auditorium, like my draft party at the university. So in a sense, like I could have everyone that I wanted there. Like I wanted my teammates and my coaches, and like my parents and my uncle and my brother came, whereas like I might have only gotten like 1 or 2 of them to go to that like party event if like that was the case. But we watched it together, and like obviously I wanted to stay home, and like who doesn't want to play professionally at home? And kind of just like make history in my hometown, like be part of the first ever team. And honestly, going so high was like an honor. I was just like, wow, like I did have a good senior season, and I was like really excited about it. But you know, I didn't know before, and I feel like people ask me that a lot. Like, did you know? Did you know? And I was like, no. Like, you talk to coaches and stuff, and like, but a lot of them oftentimes like aren't straight up with you, or like they don't even know until, you know, draft day, and like crazy things happen. But it's like one of my favorite memories.
I mean, this is the part of your career that I just really look forward to diving into, because I'm curious about how it went down the way that it did. Mm-hmm. So you get drafted by an expansion NWSL team, Racing Louisville, hometown, and you're a phenomenal college player. By all accounts, you're a phenomenal high school player, whether or not you won 1 or 2 Gatorade High School Player of the Year in the state of Kentucky. Okay. I assume you did well for Javelin. Is that what that team is called?
Javelin.
Yep. Your club team. Okay. Mm-hmm. Everything seems to be like perfect. And you played well, as from what I can tell. And then you were loaned out by Racing Louisville to where?
Melbourne City.
Okay, which is an affiliate of Manchester City. Mm-hmm. Shout out Abu Dhabi. Mm-hmm. And talk to me about why that happened, and like what was your perspective when that happened?
I'm trying to remember when that was.
Did you get pulled aside after training one day and they're like, you know, you're a good player, but I'm just curious, like how does that happen?
It was after not my first season. It was after my second season. And basically, like, I was young and I was out of college, and the consensus is that I needed more experience. I didn't play a lot in the season, so, you know, I was like, didn't really need to rest in the off season. So it was kind of like a win-win. Like, you know, you can go, you can get minutes, you can like get that load that you need to get. And for us, like, you're gaining experience, you're gaining confidence by playing, and you can bring that back. And that's kind of how it went down, because we had end of season, you know, conversations and stuff. And like, I think I was on a 2+1. So my option was being exercised, and that's why I was being brought in. And like, that came up. I was like, yeah, like in a sense, I've never left my hometown, and I have family in Australia. So I was like, let's do it. Like, it could be a fun adventure. Like, I'm coming back. So like, it felt like safe, secure, like fun. Like, yeah, you know, I was like, why not?
Well, talk to me about the family part. You had family in Melbourne or just in Australia in general?
Yeah, in Melbourne. My dad's side of the family's there. So his 2 brothers, so my uncles, aunts, and like I have so many cousins. I have like 6 first cousins in Australia. Okay. And my dad's the youngest. So my brother, it's like me, the last 3 are me, my cousin, my brother. Like, we're the youngest of like 8 or 9. I can't remember.
Was that just good luck that you had family there? I'm assuming that Racing Louisville wasn't aware of that, and that wasn't a factor for them.
Oh yeah, they
there?
had no idea.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, because players, especially in the NWSL, ending up in A-League has been a topic on this podcast many times, whether it's Izzy or Kenzie. I'm losing track at this point of how many players that I'm aware of that have played in the A-League. So just a happy accident that you had family there?
Pretty much. I had my friend at the time, Alex Chidiak. She plays for the Matildas. Okay. So she was from Australia. And it was just like something that a lot of, I feel like, NWSL players like went and did. Yeah. Like played, got experience, you know, gained some confidence.
And it's a good league.
Yeah. So she's played, she plays at Victory, but she's played for City. And she kind of helped me get over there.
Did you play against Kenzie or Izzy, any of those, when you were over there?
I played against all of them.
You did?
Uh-huh.
Kenzie told a story. I think it was Kenzie that said she played against Izzy and Izzy didn't remember playing against her. And she was kind of like, had a moment of like, that's okay. I can't remember. I don't think it was the game where Izzy had her notorious red card, but
yeah.
Do you remember that? Did you remember that story?
I do, yeah. Yep.
Were you there when it happened?
I was in Australia, but like I wasn't physically like,
you weren't
there.
In the game. Yeah, totally. You didn't instigate that red card. I have to ask about this Australia thing. Partly why I'm curious about it is because my notes on you, Emina, were from the very limited stuff I could find on you was from Louisville. And it was this, I put like wicked left foot, free kick specialist. I think this has all turned out to be true. But there was one particular highlight when you were playing for Louisville, a left-footed free kick. Do you remember the free kick I'm talking about?
I've had a couple, so.
Did you have more than one for Louisville?
Yeah, for the college, yes. For racing.
Sorry, I meant for racing.
Yeah. I do remember. We were playing Chicago, right?
Okay, yeah. Yeah, it was one of those where the lights go off and on at the stadium. Yeah. Okay, I'm trying to remember. This is me going from memory. But I feel like it's just one of those things where I'm curious how you end up slipping through the cracks for a club like Louisville, because you go to Australia and you have a lot of success. So talk to me about your time in Australia and the success you had there. I think I wrote down you had 12 goals and 27 appearances, which is like a pretty good, it'd be a great rate of return for a striker, let alone a midfielder or a winger. So you have success over there, but what happens then when it comes to your relationship with Louisville? And by Louisville, I mean racing, not the city.
Yeah. I'm not sure, to be honest. Like sometimes I just think an environment isn't the right fit. It was difficult because, let's see, obviously a lot of things went down my first year that was, not great. There was a lot of stuff going on in the NWSL and just like women's sports in general with just like issues. So then like it took me some time, I guess, to kind of like gain my confidence and become my true self, I guess, again. Like it was just, not a great environment for me, not one that I thrived in. And I've like noticed with myself that I perform in good environments, like in certain environments that like make me feel like comfortable. And then I went to Australia and I broke my fibula. So essentially my whole like last year at racing was like rehabilitation. Like I think I got cleared to play in like July, end of July, and like the season went till November and we weren't in the playoff cut.
This is in 2024? 2023.
Yeah, and then I went back to Australia under a full contract.
So your first year ended as a loan. You returned to the States and racing Louisville. And then after the injury, you were eligible to be signed as a permanent player. And that's what happened, is that you ended up signing a permanent deal with...
So then I was like just part of Melbourne City. I wasn't on loan anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
But at the end of your 1 year that you had there, what happened then? I'm trying to paint a picture of how on earth you fell into our laps here in Spokane for Zephyr FC. That's the picture I want to paint for my listeners, because we're obviously so stoked to have you playing for our city.
So thank you.
Yeah. So what happened? How did you end up after you played 1 year as a permanent player for Melbourne? Yeah. Talk to me about like where that ended and how you ended up chatting with the fine folks from USL Spokane.
Well, technically I signed a 2-year deal at Melbourne, and honestly, I loved it there. Like the club was amazing. Our resources were great. The people were great. The vibes, the beach, the coffee, the food, the coaching. Like I had the time of my life. But it is just so far from home.
Yeah.
So that was a big thing for me. So I was there. When did I leave? I left.
It's funny. I have to, for just a second, talking to Kenzie about it too. When she described her experience in Australia, at one point I was just kind of like, okay, you can stop now. We know Australia is super cool.
It's amazing.
And she was kind of like, looked over at Soph. She's like, why did I come back here? But same reason. Look, all her family's in Oregon. So
yeah. But I did have a clause in my contract that if I got an offer somewhere else and I wanted to go, primarily if it was closer to home, they would release me, which they did. And that's kind of how it ended up. I was at home vacationing because season ended in May. And then I was getting prepared for what was next. I was like talking to different clubs and then WSL and the USL, and Josh reached out and we had some good conversations, and here we are.
The presenting sponsor of the Spokane Soccer Show is Flat Stick Pub, the best pub experience in the state of Washington. Local craft beer and wine, signature cocktails, brick oven baked pizza, Bavarian pretzels, and the best watch parties for our beloved Zephyr and Velocity FC. If you're not there with me watching soccer, grab a putter and play some mini golf or duffel board, or check out the golf simulator. I have to say, as a disgustingly competitive person myself, there's literally nothing more entertaining than having a beverage and flexing on your friends in a game of mini golf. It's a perfect icebreaker too. Maybe first date. I think they wanted a Best of Inlander for first date, which makes a ton of sense. You'll never have a socially awkward moment again if you spend your social outings at Flatstick. Don't take my word for it. Head down to Flatstick in downtown Spokane or go to flatstickpub.com to book a tea time or check out their latest tap list. The Spokane Soccer Show is supported by Spokane City Credit Union. Are you still a member of a big dumb bank? Didn't I tell you to stop it? I don't even have to tell you which banks I mean. You all know the ones I'm talking about. Well, once upon a time, credit unions were wisely described as a not-for-profit, not-for-charity, but for service. And SCCU still holds that philosophy today. At a bank, you're just a customer. At a credit union, you're both a member and a shareholder. Throughout 2025, I will be updating my listeners about SCCU's commitment to the Greater Spokane Parks Challenge. Speaking of great parks, first up is our crown jewel, aka Riverfront Park. Be sure to join me and our friends at the Northwest Autism Center on April 26th down at the Ice Age Playground for the annual 5K Walk, Run, or Roll Steps for Autism. Come join us to celebrate community, inclusion, and awareness of autism by registering now at stepsforautism.org. The Spokane Soccer Show would not be possible without the support of Feast World Kitchen. You know what else wouldn't be possible without Feast World Kitchen? Mouth-watering cuisine from every region of planet Earth. That's what. Feast is a nonprofit that helps immigrants and former refugees in our community become chef entrepreneurs. Barbacoa tacos, yum-yum Korean fried chicken, ashak dumplings, lasagna bolognese, warbat bilishta, mango mousse. That's just a few of the delicious dishes being served up during restaurant week. And lucky you, because Feast is open every week from Wednesday through Sunday on 3rd Avenue in downtown Spokane. To learn more about Feast World Kitchen, their current menu, or to order some of that delicious food online, go to feastworldkitchen.org. It fills me with joy to announce that Wildland Co-op is a sponsor of the Spokane Soccer Show. What is Wildland Co-op? Wildland is a small farm, it's a brewery, it's a winery, and it's a local goods market. 20 varieties of beer on tap, guaranteed to be something you're going to dig. A range of fantastic wines and tasty non-alcoholic beverages. So pull up an Adirondack chair on their cherry tree patio and take in all those yummy flavors amidst sweeping views of Green Bluff and the foothills of Mount Spokane. There is literally not a better place in the 509 to gawk at the warm, dreamlike skies during golden hour. I've almost run out of room on my phone taking photos of it. That's actually a true story. The Wildland Co-op is family friendly, everybody's welcome, and if you'll recall, last year, their head brewer, Michael, took me up on the idea of making a signature beer for the Spokane Soccer Show. Remember the Double Pivot Pub Ale? We're doing it again this year, folks. No announcements yet, but stay tuned. We're going to do a different beer. We don't even know what we're going to do yet, but we're going to do something really cool. For more information, go to their website or follow them on Instagram, Wildland Co-op. That's wildland.coop. Okay, I kind of want to know more than that. Like, why? I think of your talent, and I can't. My brain is incapable of thinking every club in the NWSL, every club in the USL Super League, every club in women's football, period, worldwide would benefit from having Emina Ekić. So I'm just kind of like, what was it about those conversations with Josh or owners or anything that just made you think, okay, this is it?
I think my priorities changed because like I feel like when you go from the college environment where you're so taken care of to like a professional environment where the season is so much longer, like you do like a lot of growing and stuff. So my priorities changed where I realized that I had to be in a specific environment to thrive. And like, even if something like was appealing, maybe it wasn't like where I was supposed to be. So just having those conversations with Josh and like just the kind of like person he is and the foundations that this club is built on just like felt very at home and like made me feel comfortable, and I felt safe, and I just liked what like we were about, like everything was about. So it was an easy decision.
And when it comes to the Super League itself, like what were your thoughts about the Super League and the opportunities that were about to be available to 300 some odd players?
I think it's awesome because we have this amazing country with so much talent. I feel like that if they're not in the NWSL, they have to go overseas, whereas like so many other countries have like 3 or 4 leagues. And I feel like it's a great start. Like, I feel like I said, there's so much talent and such a big pool and so much to choose from. Like, we're essentially like up there as the gold standard for women's soccer, due to like our national team and stuff, and like the NWSL being as strong as it is. So I think it's just amazing. It just offers so many more players like to keep playing if they've stopped, or like the ability to stay home and not have to travel outside the country.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to ask you a few things about the team dynamic that has happened, and it's not been a full year, but it will be on Saturday. God, I'm still just trying to get over this whole thing of what has stood out to you about the dynamic and the vibe of the club so far in the first year playing together? Like, you think of your teammates right now, like what comes to mind?
I don't know. It's like, it's hard to explain. I just feel like it's easy. Like, I feel like it's just good times all around. Like, we have the ability to fight in training, like not like fight, but like, you know, we get on each other. Like, there is a standard and we all want to win and we want to do things. And like, I think we do a good job of leaving things on the field and we don't carry it in. And I just feel like we all like genuinely hang out as like a group of like, what are there, 26 of us? Mm-hmm. Like, we're getting coffee. Who wants to come? And like, everyone wants to come, or like, we're going to the movies, and like, you know, we have like a group chat, and like, and people are doing stuff, they always put it in, and it's just very like unified. That's a good word. Yeah. Yeah. And we're all just like, I feel like pretty just like chill, relaxed people who want to win. And I feel like every girl in there has my back and vice versa. So you just feel confident and strong going into every game because no matter what happens, like, I know they have my back.
I think the last game in December before going into the winter break was against Tampa Bay, a game that I've got to stop saying we. A game that we lost. I'll just keep saying it. Whatever. I'm going to say we. Did. Look.
No, you're part of it.
All right. And I will admit, I've said this before on the podcast, I went into the winter break bummed and also pretty cynical about the playoffs being a possibility. It was tough to envision. So in addition to the quote that you've said is now printed somewhere Ted Lasso style in the Zephyr FC locker room, which is, what was your quote? We will make the history in the Super League, or what was the quote?
This is the greatest comeback of Super League history.
Greatest comeback in Super League history, which is so funny and also so like prophetic.
It's valid.
It's valid, and it's been minted now. How did the team come together to talk about it? In addition to you, like what were some of the conversations like?
Well, after that Tampa loss, like, I mean, it did hurt because we were winning, right? We were winning, or we were up at some point, I think. And then it was just like kind of like the icing on the cake for the...
Yeah, that was a 3-2 loss, I think.
Yeah. For the fall.
Yeah.
And I think the consensus was like, okay, everyone like go home and enjoy the holidays, and we'll deal with this when we get back. Because there's no point stressing about it because we can't do anything.
Yeah.
And then I feel like when we came together, like, you know, it was like a reality check. Like, okay, we didn't put ourselves in a good position. I mean, we were 8th on the table, and like, we didn't like that. I feel like everyone wants to win and like carries a lot of pride with winning. And like, I feel like so many players have come from successful places. Like, I've never been in the bottom of a league, like, you know, in my life. And I'm like, wow, like, this sucks. Like, this isn't like who I am. It's not like who these girls are either. And we were like, we can do so much better. And we just kind of had, you know, we've played every team, so we knew what to expect. And we had like half the season under our belt, so we kind of knew how the coaching staff operated. But I mean, I wish you could be in there, because like countless times, like even when we're done with film and say the coaches are gone, we drag that whiteboard out and we're like, okay, we all need to get on the same page. It's like, this is what they said. This is what they meant. Okay, so this pertains to the midfield. So when this happens, the defense needs to do this. And when this happens, we need this from the forwards. And we all need to be on the same page. And like offensively, it's going to come. We just need to get in the box, because we weren't getting numbers in the box. But defensively, we all need to be locked in. Was
there conversations about playing more transitional, more direct? In addition to, I mean, the other question I can't help but ask is, did you and your teammates sort of surface this need for a player like Allie Cook, or did Allie Cook just arrive like a Christmas present?
Allie Cook just showed up.
All right. Shout out Gareth. All right.
Yeah.
Shout out Gareth and Josh and Joe and like everybody just like going, all right. They saw the need for that player profile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So not specifically that we talked about it. I think we've come to realize that it is our strength, and that if we need to go long, you know, Kenz and I will hunt it down. But yeah, we just like got on the same page, and like we knew we had to communicate more on the field, because like, you know, people don't know what's behind them. Like people move, like opponents are moving, constantly interchanging. So we've had so much more communication. It's been helpful, like fluidity and like the knowledge of different positions, because like oftentimes like Haley plays behind me. Me and Haley will get switched, and like it will take too much time and energy for us to switch back if the other team has the ball. So like then I have to know what I'm supposed to do being part of the back line, and Haley has to know what she has to do being part of like the forward line, and like who she has to defend. And then I turn into the one that's communicating to her. Like I'm sure vice versa happens on the other side. And like with the actually there was one point in time where I was accidentally the 6 and we had lost the ball. And then Sid and Sarah were talking to me, and I was like, okay, I might have interchanged a little too much. I was like, I've never been this deep. But yeah, it's just like kind of like understanding different roles and responsibilities and having that communication from your teammates.
Well, if you're talking about as a winger coming back and playing deep, and Sydney's involved in that conversation, she might have been like, hey, it's fine. I'll go play up top.
Oh, and she does that. And I think we get hyped for it. We're like, yeah, keep going. We got you.
So her best friend, Abby, was on the podcast, has been on the podcast many times. And we talked about it, the last podcast, about the fact that she scored 3 goals now. And there was a game where it was the Dallas game, I believe, where she had switched with Taylor for like a solid 3 minutes.
Yeah.
It's like, Sid's playing second striker right now. This is hilarious. Yeah. She's like crashing the box over and over again.
And I think we've just gotten so good at doing that on the fly rather than panicking.
Sure.
They're like, oh my gosh, I need to get back. I need to get to my spot. And it's like, we're just a team and we fill the spots as we need to.
It's the Dutch mentality of total football. It's like everybody can play, do all things in any position at any time, and they should be able to. Everybody should be able to switch.
Exactly.
What's been your most memorable moment with the club so far? Could be a goal. Doesn't have to be.
Sounds like you want a goal.
No, it doesn't. Hey.
I would say my first goal for obvious reasons. But I would say the DC goal, because I feel like that game.
Which DC goal?
Oh, sorry. The one where it like rain, hailed.
Oh, the brace, the one that I predicted.
Yeah, because I feel like that really kind of like set the tone. Like for the rest of the season, we're not losing. And I feel like we did win. I think we won, and I don't know, we might have lost or tied before that. But
so it went DC 1-0.
Yeah.
Then it went the loss 2-1 to Carolina, which was a pretty poor game.
Yeah.
And that DC game mattered a lot because of that. And it was like, I agree with you. It was a tone setter. It was like a game where, you know, I think if I had to imagine the conversation within the team, it's like we really got to stamp our authority over this game. And it didn't quite work out like that, but it was still a very important 3 points that kind of predicted like a run that you guys were going to go on.
Exactly. Because losing to Carolina, we were like not again. We're like, we finally, like, we got to win. We can't keep going back and forth. Like, we got to be consistent with it. We were like, guys, come on. Like, we can't do this. Like, we're not going to make it. And then I think like so much happened in that DC game and we just fought through it. And then we just kept fighting. And then you really felt the energy change. Like after that game, like it was like, okay, we got this and we're just going to have to fight through all of it. Like everyone, you know, Norma Tech, get a massage, get cupped, get whatever. But like, this is how it's going to go. Like we need everyone all in for 90.
Yeah. I mean, in retrospect, I think every team playing in the Super League should feel okay with however they played against Carolina, because I think Carolina has set a standard of like being the team that has performed consistently the best in the league. So I look at that loss, it doesn't sting as much. Frankly, either of the spring losses to either of the two games, especially in the road game where I know that was another one of those, lots of the difficulties of traveling and, you know, but Carolina, I think those losses hurt less now because Zephyr won 9 games so far. I think it's 9 now. It'll be 10 if you win the game against Fort Lauderdale on Saturday, which you will. But that's your most memorable moment. Okay. Who's the funniest person on the team?
I think we got a lot of funny people, actually.
You can give me a top 3 if it's too many.
I'd say AB and Izzy are really funny. I think they're really funny together. Hope makes me laugh too. My roommate, Molly, I think she's funny.
Totally, yeah.
I could just keep going. Everyone's funny in their own way.
Hope and Molly connected for one of the funniest things that's happened that I don't think that many people know happened, but I saw it on one of their stories. I think it was Hope, where in training, Molly had pinged a ball in off of the post and it hit Hope in the head. Did you see this?
Yeah.
Oh my God. You describe it. It's hilarious.
Yeah. I'm not even sure if I was there, but like, obviously they pulled up the practice film because we film practice. And they're probably, I think, just getting shots after training, just trying to hit him in. And unfortunately,
Molly's post was something like, or no, it was Hope saying basically, I wish you had just scored the goal instead. Yeah. Because she's technically saved it. It goes in off the post, hits Hope like square in the brain. And then she's just like, ding. And you can hear it on the audio from Speedio. It's so funny. Do you have a pregame ritual? Are you superstitious?
Yes and no. I wouldn't say like it's something that's crazy, but I wake up. I usually have some pasta. I eat a lot less on game day because I don't like to feel like my food is moving in my stomach. I always talk to my parents. I always call my parents on the game day. And then I go in a little earlier because I like to get some treatment, get taped. I always pray before the game. And that's it. And I make sure I have like a protein shake or something.
Okay. Can we talk? Okay. So no like crazy superstitions of left sock, left boot, right boot, none of that stuff.
The thing is like I don't do it consciously, but I probably do the same thing anyways.
I think I'm that way even when I wake up just to put my, shoes on to just go for a walk. I think I'm always a left sock, left shoe, right shoe, but just not because of any particular superstition, but just a routine you take for granted.
Yeah.
I want to talk about your faith. I want to talk about Ramadan because what happened for us as supporters, we read conflicting stories about exactly what the rules are. And I remember we were all like, wait, can Emina eat today? wait, I think there's like an exception if she's traveling or something, but then she has to like, she could take a break, but then she has to resume. So talk to me about what happened back then, because I thought the story that was written, and I can't remember the publication, but it was beautiful. Do you remember what that was?
FIFA Pro.
Thank you. And yeah, just what are the details so that we can know in the future?
Oh yeah, well, the calendar moves forward every year, so it's for a month, so it's for 30 days. Okay. And essentially there's like a schedule, but you have to eat before sunrise and then you can eat after sunset, and that includes drinking water. So like no chewing gum, like nothing. Like if say you're a smoker, like you can't smoke.
Don't smoke, folks. Just don't even start.
Yeah, and that's really it. And that goes for 30 days continuously until the end. And at the end, we have
30 days. Mm-hmm. Okay. I thought I heard 3. I was like, oh, that's no problem. I think I do that accidentally sometimes. 30 days.
Yeah. And then we have like holiday or Eid Mubarak at the end.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And are there exceptions for like, you can take a break and then but you have to make it up in later or something? Yeah,
there is exceptions. Like,
did you have any when you were on that? Because you were on a road trip in the middle of Ramadan this year, I thought.
I mean, for me personally, sometimes when it gets difficult like that, I won't do the day because I do still have to perform and I can't it takes a lot out of me. Traveling takes a lot out of me, and then fasting while traveling takes a lot out of me. I won't do it, but then you can make up the days.
Okay, you mentioned traveling, you mentioned fasting for Ramadan, and also playing for your national team. We're going to do the whole Venn diagram right now. That was my next question, because you have now, how many appearances do you have? You have more than, Wikipedia says a dozen. You have more than a dozen caps at this point. I think your Wikipedia entry needs to be updated. If anybody's out there wants to update Emina's Wikipedia entry, you should, because she has more than 5 goals in the Super League, and she definitely has more than 12 caps for Bosnia.
Yeah.
But talk to me about that. Like I remember you were traveling to play with the national team. Mm-hmm. Then I think you got ill, and then you ended up in Dallas for that game. And I think that was still in the middle of Ramadan, if I recall correctly. Do I have my facts straight?
I wasn't in Dallas. I was still in camp.
Wait, what game am I thinking of?
I don't know.
Oh, it was the Carolina game. Sorry.
Oh yeah, the Carolina game.
So you missed the Dallas game, right?
Yes.
The 1-0 win for us. Yes. That's right. But then you were used sparingly off the bench and I don't think people realize that you were both recovering from your traveling, but also in the middle of Ramadan, and also I think had an illness. So
yeah. So when you're sick, like you don't need to fast, because you can make those days up, but I was going through
so that's one of the rules.
Yeah.
That you can, if you're sick, you can, okay.
Yeah. I mean, you do have to take care of yourself.
Yeah. Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
But I don't know. That was a rough time for me because I actually ended up getting sick. I think I got the flu right before I got here. So when we had to report back, I was down bad. And then I got here and I was working through that, and it was cold and still we're outside. And I was kind of starting to feel like myself. I was feeling better. And then I went to camp and it was cold there. And then I felt terrible on that travel back. I was like, man, what is wrong with me? I just am not feeling it. I just need to get home and go to sleep. Mm-hmm. And then I get back to Spokane, and I'm like, Josh, I don't feel good. And he took my temperature.
And this is before the Carolina game.
This is before the Carolina game. And he was like,
yikes.
Yeah, you need to go home.
Yeah.
So I literally got really sick in a span of a month, essentially. And I was just oh, what is going on with me? So I just I was not feeling well for a really good chunk of time. And I honestly don't even know how I got through it sometimes. I just pulled it together for the game, and I was like, all right, back to bed. But yeah.
It's super crazy because then it's a week later, the DC Power game, where you had the brace.
Yeah.
So you did recover, thank goodness. And you were in fine form because you scored 2 great goals. It was a pen and then the free kick, right? Was it a penalty in that game? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What skills are you actively working on these days? What's part of your game that you're I know there's some people out there there's nothing, Emina has nothing to work on, but we know that's not true. There's always something you can be working on. What are you working on?
Yeah, that's true. I feel whenever I need to work on something, it's my right foot.
Oh.
To go to.
Okay.
Because I know how to use it. I just prefer not to.
Well, okay. Since you went there, you mentioned your favorite goal. Well, your favorite moment was the free kick in the Hale game against DC Power. Very important goal.
Yeah.
Secured 3 points and kind of provided momentum moving forward. I think it's, for me, speaking of your right foot, taking the ball from Haley Thomas onto your right foot when Madison Perez comes out. She's expecting you to use your left foot. She expects you to go near post, and you just take a touch onto your right foot and go upper 90 against Lexington. Do you remember that goal?
Yeah.
Of course you do.
It's an incredible ball.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Such a crazy ball. It is a conversation that's come up a little bit about you and that decision to go for power upper 90 when you're at that like 5-6 yards out, because you did that in that game against Lexington. You did the same thing for that first goal that you received the ball from Natalie against DC in the second game. I expected you to round the keeper in that goal against DC Power, the first goal. But you didn't. You took that little moment and then went near post upper 90. Is that something you meant to do, or were you just an instinct?
I'd say it's just like an instinct. I feel like I've always was taught like in certain situations where you can hit the ball, and like when you're near post like that, if you plan to go near post, it has to go high and hard. And I just remember that in the back of my mind. And I don't know. Like I said, I know how to use my right foot. I just prefer not to. And in that Lexington instance, I'm like, oh, everyone thinks I'm going to hit it with my left.
Totally.
Like, these are like things that I'm like I swear I talk to myself. I'm like, oh, everyone's going to think this is going to happen. It's like a game of chess.
Yeah.
I'm like, and then especially the cutback always works. It's my go-to, but I'm like, if I cut it, no one's going to expect me to cut it back onto my right.
Totally.
And then once it was there, I'm like, I just got to hit the shit out of this.
Yeah. I think that's why I like that goal so much. It was everything about it. It was Haley's ball, which was preposterous.
Yeah.
It was your first touch, which was fantastic. And your first touch put Maddie Perez on the deck. And the fact that you went back onto your right foot and went power is like, oh my gosh, top bins. What just happened? All those things. I think that's why it was probably my favorite. It might be my favorite Zephyr FC goal period this year. I don't know.
It's a bold statement.
I know. Katie Murray's like Lewandowski-esque header. Dude.
That was a good one.
Oh my God. The technique on that was absurd. Or the one at the top of the box against Lexington. That was nice. You had put a lot of touch on that one. What role I'm going to do some fan engagement stuff. How do you see Zephyr FC and the role that this club has in the community?
I think we have a really big role. I feel like we constantly are out and doing community service, and people are doing different things. And I think, at least personally for me, like I know what it feels like to be like a little like fangirl, like watching my idols play when they did. So I know how it made me feel when they stopped and signed autographs or took a picture with me. So at least I try to do the same after games, because I know like it made my whole week. Like I went to this She Believes Cup game, and I got a picture and an autograph from Carly Lloyd.
Oh, let's go.
And I was like, I was like in college. I wasn't even like 8, but I was just like, wow, like that made like the rest of my semester. So I just like remember that feeling. And
do you have a most memorable interaction with a fan at one stadium or anywhere in the community?
No, I just feel like I make my rounds. I say hi to everyone. We take photos, sign autographs. Oh, they make bracelets for us, and it's so sweet. But yeah, we just try to give that back, because like at one point I was someone who was in their shoes.
Yeah. Words of encouragement for a young athlete, a young soccer player.
Ooh.
An Emina, age 8. Talk to that kid who's out there right now in the Spokane community. Okay.
I think, and I've done it myself, it's hard not to, but I think that it's hard to get caught up in someone else's, I guess, career or pathway. Like if someone else is like, say, getting like a lot of success and you're not, but like you're doing the same things. I think everyone's road to whatever's meant to be is different. So like the best example I have is like when I went to college, like I committed my freshman year, and you know, one of the girls in my class committed senior year. And at the end of the day, we're at the same place doing the same thing.
You committed your freshman year?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't even know that was possible.
Yeah.
I really didn't. I thought you had to be like a junior or senior to be recruited by a college.
That might be the rule now, but it wasn't back in the day.
Freshman. Oh my God. You were already in conversation with the Louisville folks?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And
they knew what was up.
Yeah.
Like, sign her now. It's your only job or you're fired.
And yeah, I feel like, someone that's like looking at that is like, oh my gosh, like people are already committed, and I'm like a senior, junior in high school and I haven't. Like, you shouldn't just give up. Like, everyone just has a different road. It doesn't mean you're like not good or that you're, not doing something right. It's just different things happen at different times for people.
I know that Zephyr FC, when it comes to the Super League, are doing pretty well with attendance comparatively. I'm not going to name other clubs that are not doing well comparatively, although you may or may not have grown up near one of them. The first game ever at One Stadium was a sellout. And I want you to tell me what it feels like to have, and the importance of having those stands packed with fans, like what it means to you as a player.
Oh, our first game was epic. Like, having all those like little girls and like even like older women just like standing behind us. That was like really cool and symbolic, but it does help a lot. Like the atmosphere, like it's like the 12th man essentially like on the field. And it just like gives us energy. Like sometimes like say like we're not doing too well or something, like when you guys start cheering, like it helps like more than you know. And just being in that vibe where like if I'm like talking to my teammate or someone and I can't even hear them and they can't hear me, like that's cool. And then imagine how the other team feels, because like, that's like you're not rooting for them.
That's your first ever goal is so crazy in retrospect. A nutmeg on poor Cheyenne Allen, I think is who the fullback was, who ended up scoring against us in the next game. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
The look on your face right now, which may not read on the camera, is really hilarious. You're just kind of like, yeah, we're not going to talk about that. We're only going to talk about the nutmeg, not the goal she scored against us. She had her revenge, but you know what? We will see that team again on Saturday. The Spokane Soccer Show would not be possible without the support of Feast World Kitchen. You know what else wouldn't be possible without Feast World Kitchen? Mouth-watering cuisine from every region of planet Earth. That's what. Feast is a nonprofit that helps immigrants and former refugees in our community become chef entrepreneurs. Barbacoa tacos, yum-yum Korean fried chicken, ashak dumplings, lasagna bolognese, warbat bilishta, mango mousse. That's just a few of the delicious dishes being served up during restaurant week. And lucky you, because Feast is open every week from Wednesday through Sunday on 3rd Avenue in downtown Spokane. To learn more about Feast World Kitchen, their current menu, or to order some of that delicious food online, go to feastworldkitchen.org. It fills me with joy to announce that Wildland Co-op is a sponsor of the Spokane Soccer Show. What is Wildland Co-op? Wildland is a small farm, it's a brewery, it's a winery, and it's a local goods market. 20 varieties of beer on tap, guaranteed to be something you're going to dig. A range of fantastic wines and tasty non-alcoholic beverages. So pull up an Adirondack chair on their cherry tree patio and take in all those yummy flavors amidst sweeping views of Green Bluff and the foothills of Mount Spokane. There is literally not a better place in the 509 to gawk at the warm, dreamlike skies during golden hour. I've almost run out of room on my phone taking photos of it. And that's actually a true story. The Wildland Co-op is family friendly, everybody's welcome, and if you'll recall, last year, their head brewer, Michael, took me up on the idea of making a signature beer for the Spokane Soccer Show. Remember the double pivot pub ale? We're doing it again this year, folks. No announcements yet, but stay tuned. We're going to do a different beer. We don't even know what we're going to do yet, but we're going to do something really cool. For more information, go to their website or follow them on Instagram, Wildland Co-op. That's wildland.coop. What are your long-term career goals in soccer? Do you have them? Do you think about that?
Yeah. It's always been a dream of mine to play in Europe at some point in my career.
Mm-hmm.
I would love that. And
maybe when you're like 35 or something.
Totally. And playing a major tournament with Bosnia.
Oh, let's go.
I think those would be like my top two things.
Yeah. Talk to me about the balance of that, like playing for your, internationally and then trying to balance that with playing professional at the same time. Like, what's that been like? How have you managed it?
It's been exciting. I think like as I've gotten older, I've learned that I do need to recover in like different ways that I need to manage myself. And Bosnia takes really good care of me when I go over there. Like they know I need sleep and stuff because I traveled the farthest of all the girls. Like all of them are actually based in Europe. But it's been fun. Like it's been a dream come true. Like obviously the travel is long, but I can't complain. Like I'm doing what I love and I get to represent my country. And sometimes it's like a nice little refresh. Like maybe things aren't going well in one place and then like I can kind of like work through it in another place and then bring that energy, like say to camp, or from Bosnia back to Spokane. Sometimes I think like if I'm in a slump, it actually helps me find my groove back.
What excites you the most right now about the future of women's soccer?
That it's growing, and even when we're done playing, like the next generation is just going to have so much more than we did. And at the end of the day, like we're making it better than we found it.
There you go. If you weren't playing soccer, what do you think you'd be doing?
Well, I got my degree in exercise science. I've had a couple major injuries, so that's kind of how I went down that path. But I'd probably be a physical therapist. I'd like to get my doctor's degree. Okay.
That could come in handy. What's your favorite stadium or city or both that you've ever played in?
I've played, I think it was LA and Portland.
We're going to give you an out. We're going to not include playing here at one stadium. This is like traveling, like where you've played in other stadiums that are not Spokane.
Yeah. Because I actually ended up scoring when we played at LA, and LA was like crazy packed. I think it was like 25 or 30,000 people.
Oh, wow.
They like sold it out, and like obviously they have like a lot of celebrities and stuff that like invest in the team. I actually got like a picture with Raven Simone that day too. But
Natalie Portman wasn't there.
But yeah, I scored a really memorable goal, and it was helping us for a playoff push at the time. And I think that was the loudest atmosphere I've personally played in.
This is Angel City? Okay. Biggest lesson that soccer has taught you in life?
I feel like it's taught me to be like very optimistic given any situation.
Oh, that's a great answer.
Because you never know, like things
I'm going to start playing soccer, Riley.
Happen in games. It's actually crazy. We talk about this, but I feel like a lot of like things that you like learn from soccer, you can actually like take into like your everyday life.
I'm going to get to the fan questions now. Shout out 509 Syndicate. Thank you to all of my friends out there that have submitted some great questions. You ready? This is how we're going to end this podcast. We're going to talk about all these great questions from the supporters of Zephyr FC. Nicole wants to know, we're going to start with a really fun one. Why did you pick Zephyr FC?
I feel like we touched on it already. I really like the values associated with the club. And I think that's what I look for. And I think that's something that's important based on not only where you want to play, but where you want to live for a year or more at a time. Katie
wants to know, what has been the biggest adjustment about playing not only in a new city, but new league?
I think there's growing pains. Everything is amazing and like what we're working towards, and we know what we want, obviously. But there is like, like it is the first year and like people make mistakes or like accidentally, and you're like, okay, this is what we need to do to be better next year. Whether it's like travel or hotels or like, nothing specific, but like it's happened, like, or maybe we didn't bring something that we needed to bring, or like, it's just like, it's like sophomore year is just so much easier because you know what to expect and the mistakes that you made. And that goes from like the league to the club to the players to the coaches. Like we all like didn't know what to expect.
So next year it's like, remember that one time?
Yeah, like we're not doing that again.
Yeah, exactly. Paul wants to know, how challenging has it been balancing international duties with Super League duties? Which we kind of talked about that a little bit, but
yeah. I wouldn't say it's like something that I stress about. It's just, it is added travel and added stress on my body. That's about it. Like I'm always excited to go on international duty and represent Bosnia, and get to see family back home and play for something, hopefully like a major tournament someday. So, yeah.
Jonathan, shout out Jonathan. I think current president of 509 Syndicate has a culinary question. Does Emina prefer, I'm going to attempt some pronunciations here, folks. Does Emina prefer cevapi with Ivar or kaimak or both? Did I get those pronunciations correct, first of all?
Yeah, you actually did really well.
Okay.
I know those aren't easy words to say.
I did some Googling.
Yeah, I prefer it with kaimak.
Okay, talk to our listeners. I don't know what these things are.
Okay, so they're just like sauces. So cevapi are like, so you have like a
Is it cevap or cevapi?
It depends, plural or not. Like cevapi, cevapi. Like
okay.
If you go to Croatia, they say it a little bit differently.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
But basically, they're like little sausages that are mixed with like beef and lamb and like different meats like that, and then they come in like this bread that's toasted. With garlic, and then like the Ivar and kaimak is like sauces that you dip it in, and Ivar is more like it's like a red sauce that's kind of like peppery. It's a little hot, so spicy. I mean, and then kaimak kind of resembles like sour cream ish.
And you prefer that?
Yeah.
Sounds kind of Euro-ish.
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah.
Mediterranean inspired kind of whatever something. Okay. Zach wants to know. Louisville, or Loveville?
Honestly, like none of them.
Okay.
Louisville.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like Louisville?
Yeah, Louisville.
Louisville. Wow.
That's how you know if like someone's from there, how they say it.
Louisville.
They say like Louisville. Most people won't correct you when you say Louisville because it's hard to say, and they're like, oh, they're just not from here. But they will if you say Louisville because you don't pronounce that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's bad.
Okay. Louisville.
Yeah, Louisville.
Like
you really got to get that. That was actually pretty good.
Louisville. Brett wants to know what's your favorite part of living in the Pacific Northwest and Spokane specifically.
Ooh, cool. The nature, I think. We don't have the trees that are here. We don't have those trees back home, if that makes sense. And I think they're really pretty, like the pine trees.
Ponderosas.
Yeah, and just like the hikes and the river. We went to Bull and Pitcher last summer, and that was fun. Coeur d'Alene, I've gotten to do. Just like those nature-y spots. It's like a lot different than what the landscape of Kentucky looks like.
Yeah. Okay. Final question from Jamie. Shout out Jamie. Another 509 Syndicate, the founder of the 509 Syndicate. The Olympico against DC, intentional or were you going back post for Sydney?
Intentional.
That's the right answer.
That's what everyone says. The way I take corners is I like to whip them in because I just think it causes chaos regardless. There's just like a lot of people in there, like a lot of bodies in front of the goalkeeper. So if we have like people in there, they could get on it. Like the ball will ricochet, it'll bounce and stuff. I have done it before. I do like to bend the ball. So regardless, I was like, I'm just going to put this, like it was wet. It was raining. It was downpouring. I'm like, I'm just going to put it above the goalkeeper. Like it's going to cause chaos and I'm just going to really try to whip it in and keep it in. But I did know Sid was back there. So I'm like, worst case scenario, something will happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I just have to cause some chaos.
As someone who's been watching you take these corners and free kicks since media day when we got invited out to see the team train, I was like, yeah, that's just what Emina does. I mean, I remember seeing you and Thais both taking free kicks, and that you in particular with that back post venom is just like something you're doing. So I'm like, it's always going to be intentional. Okay. A big dream you have for the future, soccer related or not? Anything come to mind?
A big dream of mine is I would like to win the Ballon d'Or one day.
Let's go. Okay.
Gotta dream big.
If you could have dinner with any athlete, past or present, who would it be? What would you ask them? And that's my final question for Emina Ekić on the Spokane Soccer Show.
It's a good question. Let's go with Muhammad Ali.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And I'd ask him... I could ask him so many questions. I guess I just ask him for his best advice. That he is either received or has to say.
Emina Ekić, thank you for coming on to the Spokane Soccer Show. It has been such a joy to watch you play for this club. I know I speak on behalf of every supporter in Spokane, Washington in saying that. I can't wait to continue watching your career and to watch you play for this club. And wherever you end up in your career, I'll always be a huge supporter. So yeah, a call to fans. Here we go. We're wearing black. Okay.
Oh, are we?
Blackout, pack out the stadium.
Ooh.
One stadium.
I like that.
On 5/31. So this Saturday, 6:00. I don't even have the black shirt.
It's like a funeral.
Yeah, let's go. I have to go get a shirt.
For Fort Lauderdale.
I don't have the shirt. I got to go get a black shirt.
Yeah.
That is the mantra that I've been told. Black out, pack out, one stadium. Let's get to the playoffs. Emina Ekić, thanks once again for coming on the Spokane Soccer Show.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.